Hello, hello. Welcome to our talk for Dutch Design Week. Very European digital, in a very digital way. Yeah, so we are talking about how does the digital new normal influences material design. The talk is part of the Dutch Design Week that is now at Eindhoven and in the digital world. It's fully digital. So we are having this digital talk with designers from 3 different countries who all take part at the Dutch Design Week, who present their projects at the Dutch Design Week, at the Digital Dutch Design Week. And I want to welcome, first of all, the audience that are already in, I think, and we are hoping that there will be also still people joining us. And I will also welcome the designers, and I will present first of all the designers, and then we have a little talk. And yeah, so at the end of the talk, we will have also the possibility to have a discussion. So if you have questions, please write them in our chat. We will grab them up later and we'll discuss them at the end of the talk. And this is important, and you know it already. It's important that you mute yourself. And we will talk about 50 minutes. And we will record the session. This is important that you know it. So if you want to be on the screen, please, please get your screen out. Yeah, so first of all, I want to present you the designers that are at the panel. So welcome Daria Biryukova from Studio Mixtura, and Laura Luchtman from Studio Cooker. They are from the Netherlands, and as Laura is from Rotterdam, Daria is from Eindhoven, and the mother tongue of Dutch Design Week. Hello, Daria and Laura. Hi. So Adam Fairweather is with us. Adam is from Smile Plastics, yeah, from London, a very successful brand meanwhile. Hello, Adam.
Hello, everyone.
Hi. And I'm very happy also that Jonathan and Laura is with us, Jonathan Radetz and Laura Jungmann. Hello, Jonathan is from Frankfurt, Laura is from Karlsruhe, and they are a business and a design collaboration couple for years now. And Jonathan is the one who has also organized this talk. So hi, Laura and Jonathan.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Hi.
Hi. Yeah, so this is a talk about material design and how the crisis and the transformation we have at the moment does influence material design and the usage of material. And we have talked about what we can present you, and it's interesting that all the designers we are here at the panel, they're material based or material focused, and so it's interesting to speak with them about their experience and their visions on these issues. So first of all, I want ask you in the panel about the personal experience in the last 6 months during Corona. How did you perceive, or the designers perceive, this crisis within the practice? What have changed? What is positive? What is more negative in a way? So let's begin. Daria, to together you're based in Eindhoven. You're a material designer, really just material designer. You have a very interesting project. You have launched a sustainable and circular ceramic glaze with a company called Force, and it's made from mineral waste. So this is a sustainable approach. So you're one side designer, but you have also a business view maybe on the thing. And there are also some new projects. Maybe you can give us a little glimpse in your daily practice since the last 6 months, and what did you develop or what have changed in your projects?
Yeah, thank you, Martina, for introduction. I'm really glad I can take part in this discussion panel today. It was, if I can say, hell of a ride for all these 6 months. It started in a very quiet, let's say, period in my studio, and I did re-evaluating in total all the projects that were ongoing, and some projects indeed were delayed, or I could not participate in them personally. And one project that got delayed, let's say, but thankfully we managed to finalize it with collaboration with TU Delft on the GeoSlate project, the research on material based on residues from the mining of stones. In this case, it was slate stone quarry. And earlier you mentioned the project Force Glaze. Yeah, it's still ongoing. We managed, although Corona period was there, but we managed with the factory to actually a bit scale up to prepare the material for the upcoming projects. And now Force Glaze could be already seen on applied on the pottery, for example. So on the ceramic pottery and tableware collection we launched with Urban Nature Culture in Amsterdam. And the concept is very beautiful because they used a second-hand tableware, which they obtained from the, let's say, kringloop stores. Because a particular thing is that 70% of white tableware is usually thrown away. So with our glaze, they give it sort of a second life, and then people can buy a new sets of tableware in different colors, in more like natural colors. And for the tiles, indeed, it was more like preparation for launching and collaboration with the architects, which are coming next year. So in that way, Corona did affect a bit like a project schedule, but in a way also get a bit of rest and a bit of a moment of reevaluation of the total thing. Yeah.
You mentioned before that you also created a new approach in the time because you had more time in a way, or you had an impulse. Maybe you can talk about it?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I was in my studio, let's say, and thankfully I have a bit more space so I could work quietly, and it was possible still to go there. And I was looking into all available materials in my workshop. And I find out that I can experiment with these waste streams from the quarry a bit more. I had more time, and I just did different settings, different mixed designs, and then I fired them in my kiln, and I was surprised once I opened it. And that's actually how it started. So I find out this interesting fact that I can grow the crystals from these waste streams of the quarrying of the stones. And that was a starting point. And then I launched a small collection. And in this collection, I worked with the residues from the quarrying or mining of slate stone, limestone in the Netherlands. Slate stone was coming from UK. And then the crystal waste from Austria. So these 3 streams, but they can give a beautiful color range, let's say, and surface design possibilities, which I would like now to continue work on it. But due to Corona, I had this quiet time, let's say, just to focus on that very repetitive, meditative way of experimenting, which usually in the hectic life, I had much less, let's say.
Okay, yes. Okay, perfect. Interesting. We are already keen about it. Maybe we can look afterward what is about the crystal growth glaze.
The crystal growth, yeah. So it's presented online indeed in this design week.
Okay, perfect. We'll have a look. Okay, thank you, Daria. So I want to switch to Adam now. We are still in the question about what is about the experience in material design and usage in the last 6 months during Corona and the new digital normal. So Adam, you see their material behind Adam. Hello, Adam. So yeah, this is Smile Plastics, and together with his business partner Rosalie Macmillan, he founded Smile Plastics in 2014. And I've already mentioned that they are now very successful on the market. It's a plastic material completely recycled from PET waste, and it's a very interesting material. I see it already in analog, lifetime, real time. So you're also not just a designer, but also have a little business. And maybe you can talk about your experience in the last months, the positive and the negative things.
Hi, everyone. I don't know if you can hear me. So,
yeah.
Right. Well, yes. Yeah, so thanks for the intro. Smile Plastics is a very small industrial ecosystem. We are a team of designers, makers, artists, engineers, and business people that have teamed up to change the way that people perceive waste. And as a business, our core proposition really is to take different types of waste materials and make really beautiful end materials that people can use in the built environment. And as you can see around us, around me, we've got a range of different types of predominantly plastic packaging waste that we convert into panels 3 meters by 1.2 meters. Our core focus has always been to change the way that we value resources and to create sustainable ecosystems that facilitate positive social and environmental change. And this is kind of where we came from. How can we use materials to change the way people do things and see things? We classify ourselves as an advanced proof of concept business idea that's testing our industrial ecosystem micro factory blueprint in a real-time world scenario. We're an advanced concept. We are trading, but we are a prototype as a business idea. And we are very analog. We're 100% analog. We have very, very little digital presence.
Okay. Maybe you can a little bit explain what have changed in your business, because it's already years that you're doing it. So maybe you can.
That's a little bit about the business. And then, yes, the last 5 months has been very exciting for small businesses. And small businesses like ours, which are 100% analog. We make things from things. And we rely on real-time world trade that's not based on sort of marketing, advertising, although we might look at that for our business idea to be successful. I've made 3 little notes. We try and have a triple bottom line way of measuring things at Smile Plastics, so social, environmental, and economic. I often use this as a gauge. So socially, as a business, we've had to come up with whole new ways to work dynamically in the factory, in our workshops. It's completely different. We have to make it in a different way. So it's a huge impact on us for the team. Working practices have changed. Our customers that we rely on have disappeared, some of them are, there's some new ones. Lots of new conversations that we never thought could have existed are happening, and lots of old conversations have just disappeared. Environmentally, we have had a massive drop in business in terms of like normal sales. And we've used the last 5 months, I think, to really reflect internally and to try and use that time to build and improve on what we do, whether it's reducing our energy impact, whether it's monitoring and auditing internally our business, or whether it's rebuilding and then reinventing the way that we do things in our business.
Can you mention them, the reinventing your business?
Well, we have historically worked mostly in hospitality and retail. And I think, as we all know, hospitality and retail have dropped off. We've never really had a very big business to consumer market, which tends to be where the digital world really excels. So yeah, we rely on real estate, on physical experience, on real experience as a business, and we always have. But we're finding conversations with some of our customers, and some of our customers are they've been, our champions through COVID, because they are purely a digital business. They market online, they have no shop, and they sell to consumers. And the consumers have been doing, a lot of shopping recently online because there's nothing else for them to do. Well, there is lots of stuff for them to do. So we've had a lot of, new conversations based on how to sort of get our really large, huge pieces of material into smaller formats so that people can take them home with them at the end of the day. Loads of conversations like that happening. But I think what we've really realized and thought a lot about is, we are a micro business, and the whole platform of the business is based around being dynamic approaches to problem solving. And this is just one of those problems that we've had to sort of look at and try and come up with and explore and be open to alternative situations. And I think that's been really key for us, is the fact that before, we are an agile, dynamic business, and we've been fine throughout the last 5 months as a business because we have always had this very, very dynamic approach to what is possible and what we can do and what we're willing to do as a business. So yeah, I don't know, positive, but very exciting and very dynamic and worrying and all sorts of things.
Okay, it's interesting that you are changing your target group for your designs, and that you're doing more consumer products than to go in the business to business hotel retail thing. And yes, it's if you're agile, this is I think good, and you can easily adapt. So we are already in this issue because we presented already 2 projects, 2 designers that are working heavily in a sustainable way, in an alternative approach to material. And I will open it more, the discussion, to the issue of sustainability. And this is interesting because during Corona, we are still in discussion if the pandemic and the crisis is positive or negative for a more sustainable world. We don't know at the moment. Some voices say we will all draw back because now it's just about economic purposes, existential purposes. Other voices say this pandemic crisis are accelerating the transformation towards a better world. So now I switch to Laura Luchtman. Hello, Laura.
Hi.
Hi. Laura's business is about textiles, and I am keen or interested to know if your own business that is also a sustainable approach in textiles, is the approach is still there, that you're following the approach, or are you also more concerned about basic needs, or if you think you have to follow other approaches because of the crisis now? So maybe you can give us an introduction also into your project that are very interesting.
Yes, I'm Laura Luchtman. I'm a textile and surface designer. My studio focuses on experimental color and material research. And one of my projects I'm working on for the last couple of years is called Live in Color. It's a research into how to dye textiles with pigment producing bacteria. And it's an alternative for hazardous dyes, but also to create a new natural aesthetic, because the colors are very bright and vivid compared to other natural colors from plant resources, for example. So this is really focused on the ecological aspect of sustainability. And my latest project that I'm working on now is called Chroma Rama. And it's an artistic search for optimal color selection for color vision deficiency, also known as color blindness. So I'm looking at how people with color blindness see color, but also how they experience color. And I'm translating these color studies into jacquard woven tapestries together with the Textile Museum in Tilburg. So that focuses really on the social aspect of sustainability. And I think on one hand, this crisis is positive because we all are more aware that something needs to change in the world. And this could be the great reset to make it happen. But I'm really worried on the other hand, because a lot of businesses are in survival mode and they are just focusing on surviving at the moment. And because of that, there might be less budgets or less willingness to make these changes happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is interesting, we talked already before about your sustainable approach is also not just ecological, but on the other hand, the new one, Chroma Rama, is also about inclusive design, the social perspective for sustainability. So we talked about if we are now living more in new digital worlds, do you see a problem or conflict in inclusiveness? That means that all people can get into this digital new lifestyle, or do you see conflicts in a way there?
Yeah, when you talk about color blindness, there's a lot of focus on functional design. For example, maps or signage or software that we use. And now we spend a lot more time behind screens and we use a lot more software to communicate. So optimizing those designs for people with a visual impairment or with a color vision impairment is very important. Because when you, for example, look at Zoom as an interface, we have a share screen button that is green. We have a leave button, which is red. We have a recording on the top of a little circle that's flashing in red. But people with red-green color blindness cannot distinguish those two colors. They see red and green as kind of the same brownish hue. So if you look at color coding, for example, and they did it fairly well here because they combine colors with text. So you don't need to just look at the color to know the function. But it's definitely something we need to address and design for.
It's really surprising that maybe for somebody who's not in design, or that really it does matter also, or that we design for people that are colorblind. Because if you say, okay, there's a button there is delete or something written, it's enough, or you don't need a color on top. But if you say that many people are colorblind, many in the world, and it's important to also integrate them in the designs.
Yes, yeah. So 1 in 12 men are colorblind and 1 in 200 women. 300 million people worldwide are colorblind. But there are also people who have other visual impairments, who cannot see, who need glasses or half blind or that kind of things. So, and the beautiful thing is when you design for people who are colorblind, you actually are also designing for people with other visual impairments, because they also need the contrasts to see designs or see like interfaces. Yeah,
I think the design world are getting more aware in a way for these issues in the last time, but we will have still a long way to go, and to at the end design all designs that are inclusive, and that are no more designs without inclusiveness. So this would be the final goal. So thank you, Laura. And I switch to the other Laura. We have a second Laura in the chat, Laura Jungmann and Jonathan Radetz. Hello. So we are still in the sustainable thing, and for me it's interesting. Laura and Jonathan are working together as designers for different projects and also sustainable projects. I mentioned two of them. Together with industry partners, they are researching under the title Fiberments how fiber composites made from recycled materials can be used for design. And for the Dutch Design Week, they present their shingle stool. This is a stool on the left side at Jonathan.
So,
and
you can see it.
Yeah, and it's a basket and a stool made from quadrat really textile board. So as I mentioned before, we have this big discussion about are we now more concerned about existential economic purposes at the moment? Is sustainability still a big issue in trend as before for you, Laura and Jonathan?
I think, I mean, like you already mentioned, in the last years, the interest was growing. And I have the impression that at the moment, yes, I mean, it's covered by some by the discussion about Corona pandemic problems, but I still think that this will survive like discussion, because I realized that in the last years also it arrived at the companies that they see that their customers really want and expect a brand. And and there's also other aspects like recycling and waste reduction that is like also reducing costs for the companies, etc. And I also think that maybe the crisis can be a chance for sustainable projects. For example, when now all the fairs are canceled, there could be like this situation that we maybe realize that we need less products, because a fair was always a deadline for new projects, for new products that have to be presented. And now we have to really think about what do we really need to sell products, to sell furniture, for example, for the furniture fairs. And it would be great if you would reflect and say, okay, maybe we need less, but we need more sustainable, more like long-lasting, more products that are longer on the market, but they need more time to be developed. That would be like my nice perspective for us designers, because saying just we need less products, like what do we do then? What is our work then? But I think it could be an option, like a vision to say, okay, then we need another concept for products. And that could be the sustainable products.
So, okay, interesting. So I think I also would say that companies are now getting more in sustainable processes and products, and we are aware of this issue in the last time. But still, there's a question if we will. We will follow this way. So what do you think, Jonathan? Are we already tired, or the market and the people are tired, or we will hold on and we will have maybe next year a renewal, so that we are even more getting into sustainable lifestyles and sustainable products? What do you think?
Well, I think right now everyone is very much scared what's happening, like with this world. I think this is a big impact on everyone. But of course, like let's say if people can't get out and be loud about our future, if you see things like climate change, it will be less in media. And of course, Corona is big on media. but I don't see the point why we should trust the system what brought us a bit here where we are right now. I think because now everyone is saying, maybe sustainability sounds great, but let's see on the cost side, it's we need to grow back the business. But yeah, I believe like if we use this, like there were a lot of discussion about using this crisis as a chance to create new sustainable concept ideas or systems as we manage. And I think we designers all should try to create more sustainability in all aspects of things we design. It will be still there. So because it's maybe it's all about what we believe, what we should do. And if I create something new, I always try to make it better, like maybe look nicer as well, or having a strong concept behind it. But it's always a good thing to even make it more sustainable. So I think this generation of designer growing up and the current working ones, they will always try to keep this topic very loud. And we only have to try that the industry is able to use what we try to give them. And of course, all the customers need to know about it. And this is maybe why a Dutch Design Week is very special, because it's not just about consuming things, it's about finding new topics for the future. And yeah, so yes, I believe it will be there. I hope it's not just a trend, it's more like something we will maybe always keep in mind and put it very strong out there. Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I would agree to you both that we will still follow this or the design, and also industry will follow it, but yeah, there's maybe a little crack at the moment, and so there's importance, I think, for all of us to be strong in a way, and to give the statements in, and to have this discussion about getting more ecological, social, inclusive, and these issues. So yes, maybe we now switch really to our core discussion topic about material in the new digital world, or new digital, new lifestyle, new normal, as we say. And it's interesting, you're designers for material. The Corona crisis we do now have reduced our analog or sensory experience that is crucial for material. And we sit even more before digital screens and endless loops of video conferencing, and we're distancing in a way from the analog material world. So living in digital worlds is the moment of the time. First, I want to ask Adam, what do you think? Is it a problem or not?
I just made a note actually. I think there's all sorts of very exciting things that surround the digital economy and the analog economy, if we're going to see them as very separate things. I'm going to start with the positives, and then I'm going to finish on the negatives, because I've made more notes on positive.
Okay, good.
So we are very much an analog business, although we do rely on the digital world, whether it's sort of design software, design engineering, to try and make better systems and processes behind the manufacturing that we do. But primarily, we rely on the digital economy to help allow us to reach people with what we're doing, to help improve the sort of the communications and the networks that surround what we do, our industrial ecosystem, and the services that we offer to people. I think that the digital economy, the digital world, has allowed businesses like ours to be successful, businesses that have strong narratives, businesses that engage people, businesses that enable emotional connections with people, have the ability to do really well. And one of the proudest moments I think I've ever had as a designer and maker was seeing somewhere on social media several years ago that someone had commented on some picture of a table that someone had made with some material that I had made with my bare hands from plastic waste, saying that they liked it so much that they wanted to hug it. The material, the plastic packaging that I'd recycled, had met someone, and that sort of collection of stories and narratives would never have got to me without this whole internet world, digital world. It's a really sort of a really lovely moment. And I guess coming back to the sort of the nuts of that is this storytelling, enabling us to tell stories. And I think that's an analog thing and a digital thing, because I have to tell a story, but I need a platform to tell that story. And it's enabled businesses or people that are trying to create businesses that 20, 30, 40 years ago would never have had the opportunity to do such a thing, because it would have been impossible for us to compete with the big organizations, the big corporations, because you have to be incredibly well, even today you have to be 1 in a million to be successful, but on top of that, 20 years ago it was even harder. You couldn't have gone from been growing up in a small rural community with very normal people, family, teachers, parents, etc., to then building a factory. It was very, 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 very unlikely, and a really unlikely scenario. And the digital world has enabled those types of things to happen for all of us. It's leveled the playing field. It means that it's not just DuPont or the big chemical companies that control the world. Other people can play in the same arena, because the stories can go everywhere. And I think it's a really exciting, really, really exciting time for ideas to go from the drawing board and all the way through to people. And so that's really exciting. I feel that that's because, coming back to what I said before, predominantly we're an analog business, and we do use software engineering, building systems, electrical engineering, all sorts of bits and bobs, but it's very much focused around an analog scenario. The internet and the digital world that we kind of recognize and we use every day is mostly, for us, it's about marketing or telling our story, getting our story out there. So yeah, I guess really, really, I think it's fantastic being able to see it, but we don't use this as much as we should, because internally as a business, we've never invested in that sort of side of our business, because we've been so focused on the analog part of what we do. I think one of the big things that I feel, and I'm going to come on to a problem that I see now, and I think it's a huge problem, because humans are distracted very easily. And one of the things that I have, and I'm really aware of in my own life, but I am aware of seeing it around me, is that the digital world and the way we interact with the digital world and the way that we interact with the stories that are being told to us is very similar to the incredibly fast fashion sort of model that has almost been the worst thing that could have ever happened to us, as seasonal changes and things, etc. Having to change your wardrobe every single season because you're out of trend, out of fashion, and for no particular reason. I feel that the digital world seems to exasperate this fast fashion model across every single type of industry that exists, whether it's singing, whether it's like performance arts, whatever it might be. exasperates the worst part of what we as humans seem to like. The biggest impact that we have is we throw things away and we lose interest in things too quickly. We're not good at slowing things down. We're not good at stopping things from happening. And so I feel that the digital world has this problem, and it's something that we need to try and do. Smile Plastics is very much about slow manufacturing. We're about storytelling. We're about experience. We're about telling stories through physical experience. And we're about using materials and the language of materials to change the way people feel and see things. And it is very much about slowing down the consumption of things, whether it's the engineering that goes into what we do, i.e. we take plastic waste and we make stuff, and that stuff hopefully will last for much longer than the single life packaging product that it was originally used for. And we also hope that we are adding emotional durability to things, and by making better connections between the physical analog world and the I guess the other world, which is the psychology of products and the psychology of consumption, and then obviously the digital world enables that to happen. But I think it's this flicking of the phone.
Yeah.
This flicking of the phone is essentially what we're doing with food, what we're doing with materials, what we're doing with energy, and so I think this exasperates it, because it means that we have less patience, less attention to detail, and less interest in long-term or slow or long-term, more emotionally durable experiences.
Okay, just to summarize a little bit, so you're are having two sides. You have one positive and one negative, but that positive is the storytelling about your business, about design and materials, and this is possible through our digital ways. And on the others, it's about these fast fashion thing that we are consuming much more if we see this on our screens in the digital world, and we are not concerning about the consequences because we are distracted in a way. So it's interesting. I think it was already before the new normal, the digital new normal, but this maybe is enforcing it in a way, this development. So
I wasn't referring to the last to post.
Yeah.
I'm referring to pre-analog, sorry, pre-digital or pre-digital,
Okay.
post-analog.
Okay, pre-digital is interesting. Okay, thank you. Laura Luchtman, I want to speak with you about translating materials into the digital world, presenting them in the digital world, and where we are now maybe. As I am also working with material design, I'm doing material magazine and in a material agency, and I know a little bit about their problems also to present material. They have 14,000 materials in their library to present them in digital libraries. They say always you have to feel them to really see them right in front of you. There's also Smile Plastics in the library, by the way. It's Raumprobe in Stuttgart. And so Laura, maybe you can introduce a little bit how do you do it, translate your material design in your website, in your social media, how you bring people in digital worlds your material. How do you present them your material? How do you do videos, or how you can, because textiles, you have to touch as like other materials, they are soft. Digital worlds are just two-dimensional. Maybe you can give an introduction.
Yes, I feel that the virtual can never completely replace the tactility of things and the physical experience. But I think this situation we're in really forces us as designers to think about other ways of presenting our work. So normally we would present our work at physical exhibitions, and we would take photos and videos to place upon our websites. But for example, I witnessed a color symposium a couple of months ago, and normally it would happen in New York City, so I couldn't really be present. But now, because it was all online, I could actually participate. And what they did, they had a sort of interactive workshop, and they sent us via mail color swatches so we could participate in the workshop. And I thought that was really clever, because then you have combined the virtual and the digital with the tactile. And it also made me think about a couple of years ago, I went to see a movie here in Rotterdam. It was a movie from 1982 called Polyester. And it was a smell-o-vision. So in the movie, you would have these scenes, and you would see some kind of symbol beneath in the bottom of the screen. And then you would have, in the movie theater, you would have a scratch and sniff card. And when the symbol popped up, you would know which thing to scratch, and you could sniff, and you could sniff the exact same thing that was happening in the movie. So a rose bush or whatever. So I think combining the virtual with the physical, I think will happen more, and it will create also new possibilities to present our work in that sense.
Yes, it's interesting. Maybe it could be an option. I see also, or have the experience that there's a lot of sending out material samples in the last time, that companies and because of the lack of the trade fairs, that they have to do it via samples that are sending out. This would be, I think, will be increasing. So interesting. Maybe you can develop something like in this film, maybe with your examples. Could be interesting.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So Daria, so as you are working and living in Eindhoven, a town full of designers, maybe you can tell, how do you and also other designers react on these translating material and objects into the digital world? What do you see, what do you do yourself? Maybe you can present something.
Yes, yeah, I think that the situation that we are right now, it will, let's say, push us indeed to develop some other ways how we can communicate this tactility and this, let's say, how we can allow our customers or consumers to feel and touch and smell. So I think that designers after will come up with even more ideas how we can do it. And what I also experience now is that usually during this design week, it's just such a busy week, which is hectic. And sometimes I even had the feeling that it was already too much, you know. You cannot visit in 1 week all the exhibitions, touch all the materials. So you anyway will go back to the digital world to check it up, to read about it. And now there are a few exhibitions which are actually available for the public. And what they did is that they will keep them open for the whole year, so that actually the audience who really want to visit and to see it, they have now a longer time frame and span when they can do it actually. And I think that in that way, you can slow down in a way, and you can create maybe topics or sort of themes during the year where people who are interested in specific material or specific developments, they can come over and see, so that it will be more, spread it and through the time frame. And in a way, I think that Adam, he pointed out that it's, let's say, a negative part of this digital, let's say, how can I say, that we are really attracted and affected by the digital life. But on the other hand, it allows us to travel less. So for example, now we are all based at home, so we travel less, we fly less. All the samples and all this, let's say, information has to come somehow digitally. So in a way, I think it will be better to create other ways of communicating and maybe spreading it, as I said, in a longer time frame, so that people can really enjoy the moment, come over, see it, smell it, taste it, I don't know, and then, yeah, so that you don't have to hurry. You don't have to hurry it up.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So interesting. As we are traveling to Eindhoven, maybe could be next year, there's still a Dutch Design Week on?
Yes, I think you will be still able to see some some pavilions, the bio-based pavilion, Rethinking Plastic exhibition at Dixie Expo. Definitely, yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, then I will switch to Jonathan and Lara Jungmann. And this is our last question here in our panel. Then we have a little discussion. As mainly in the new work field, we have the transformation that we have a digital lifestyle now. So we are talking a lot about the transformation in working environments at the moment. And I had an interview with the Berlin-based interior architects Kinso, and they said in future there will be no more place in an office that is not hybrid, that is not connected with the internet, and that we are always in a way in a hybrid situation. Lara and Jonathan, what do you think about the statement? First question, and then the second question is, do you think it is important to design these kind of interfaces that we are now in it? Maybe what you see in the green screens or your studio, is it something that you already think of it to design it in a way, or is it even more that you think that even all the objects have now to be connected with the digital world we are in it, that you can now maybe speak or handle with your shingle stool if it's connected in a way that we seeing over the stool maybe something about the product materials inside or something. I don't know, maybe you can speak about it.
Yes, shortly to present our stool, our project, because I didn't before. So yeah, you mentioned we were exhibiting here a stool that is called the shingle stool, and it's quite a really analog tool because it's for the moment it's just the furniture. Means you're always in movement like this. And it's an object that is more for like short sitting, for short meetings, etc. So you don't need to sit for a long time. And this stool can be stuck on top of each other. They built a wall. And with this wall, the idea is to build in the office like a structure to make like small rooms, to make project rooms. And it's developed in the context of, yes, this new work movement where there's this perspective of not having stationary working places anymore, but more open space, project rooms. It's like really flexible. Also like with just with 5 people or maybe with 20 or 30 people. So it's this kind of a flexible instrument and tool. And I think because you talked about interface, I mean, an interface is like a part of a system that is used for communication. So this tool or also furniture, a room, an object for sure is an interface and also has to be designed, especially with these new aspects of the corona pandemic and the digitalization. But when I look in Germany, for example, there's this big discussion about new work. And I read that about 90% of the talking about new work, but just like 6 or 8% of them really like introduce it into their working culture. So there's like a big step still to do until we really change the way we use the office, and also the people that work there change the way they use the office.
Maybe, do you think now the digital new normal is accelerating the new work transformation? What do you think about it, Jonathan?
Yes. Sorry.
Or Lara? Jonathan?
No.
Yeah. Well, I think Well, in Germany, we even have the discussion of that home office might be a legal right for every worker. I'm not sure if this will come or not, but especially I think the whole work system was quite conservative, and everyone asking for home office got a similar answer here. It's not possible. It's because of the system, the server, the internet. There were a lot of things, or maybe trust. Trust is probably a big thing here, and then it need to happen overnight. Like there was this big shutdown, and even the big banks, I think that before they went into shutdown, they tried a smaller, they had smaller groups and sent half of the groups home, and yeah, it's working. It's there, and a lot of aspect in the new work was already like to be more flexible, to not have the same desk, things like that. But now I'm not sure if it's accelerating. It will if people will come back, or more people will come back. I'm not sure. Here it's half and half. Some are always in the studio and some are still home or back home again. It will change because people will come together in a not so regular pace. But if they come together, they will be maybe together in a room, and this can be 5 or 50 people. So it will be very hybrid, like to allow the structure. And I also believe, like if we talk about the Internet of Things, that we need reference objects like I think it was Laura Luchtman told that there was one object everyone had. So I believe, for example, if everyone would use the same shingles tool at home, what would be great, of course. And then the same object is in the studio, like in the office and wherever. This will be something all have together, and what brings, even if not everyone can be there at the same time, brings the team together. So yeah, I think we will find out as maybe the new normal, or the post-corona starts, how we can transform even the 90% conservative companies into this in this new work movement.
Yeah, and this is important for you as you're more or less analog designers. Do you think you will be integrated in the in the field of designing the new hybrid offices? Is it important, or do you think are you already discussing new transformation zones? And yeah, maybe you can say something.
Yeah, I think it's always like the question, and when we talk about design, and then there's the product design is now very digital. I learned, like even I'm a product designer, but maybe now I have to call myself a furniture designer or accessory designer, or so but in the end, even I don't think we will sit on screens, or maybe we work on a table what is a screen, but it needs to have certain things. So but what I hope for is that all those design industries, I think it's already very interdisciplinary, but that they will maybe work together, or maybe they even new specialists. I don't know. But in the end, if we talk about a screen, I think I look into one screen, but I see now I see 6 rooms. So I don't know what is more present. I don't see the screen, to be honest. So I will still focus on the room, because that's what everyone sees right now.
So this is the perspective of the designer, and maybe it's also the mission of designer to reconnect ourselves to the analog world. That is still important. Okay, thank you. I think for the new work issue, we are still in a lot of questions about how this new working style will transform our working offices or our home office. A home office could be also there's a discussion if the companies should also design the home office of the people that are now in the home office, that they have the right furniture, that they have a good desk and maybe acoustic panels, that they have a good video talk. So could be also a design task for designers. There are a lot of options, and yes, I think at this point we have the discussion. I don't know, maybe somebody has a question in the audience. We don't have a question in the chat. We are waiting. Okay, there's some. Okay. Okay, I will read out. I read out slowly that everyone get it, and then we hope that somebody in the panel can answer it. So this is Mike Smith, and he asks, talking about the difficulty of creating physical experiences, in what way could you see it as a solution to share your knowledge and techniques? So recreate the physical experience translate.
Okay, I think, I'm not sure if Martina is back or not. So I think we lost her, right? But yeah, yes. Are you back, Martina?
I'm back. I see you.
Okay, because I think half of the question was lost, but. Yeah.
Okay, do you see me? Do you hear me? Yes. Should I okay, I will do it. I repeat. Talking about the difficulty of creating physical experience. In what way could you see it as a solution to share your knowledge and techniques so others can learn and recreate those physical experience in different corners of the world?
Yeah, maybe if I can answer, because I was when I was reading this, I was always fascinated of how fast young people are learning from YouTube channels, different kind of soft skills and, you know, like programs and whatever. And I had an idea because I'm going to give a workshop, let's say a digital workshop in the coming few weeks. And in a way, we both, let's say, no matter where we are located, we have the tools and we have the, let's say, necessary equipment what we need from both sides. So imagine if this kind of communication can be, and tactility can be achieved from the other, let's say, from via internet or via, let's say, digital media, but then you still can have touch and you still can have smell. It will be a bit different though, but in a way you can, I think you can learn in this kind of media so that you can repeat the movement. So it's a bit abstract what I'm having in my mind, but in a way that you can do this, but on the other side. So it's not necessary that you have to stand next to each other. As long as you have the same setup, the same equipment, I think it can bring some kind of interesting insight and you can learn in that way, I think, yes.
I think the question is about translating the physical, how we can transport the physical experience of materials and objects in other corners if we are not there. So yes, there are already also these kind of experience experiments about digital recreating, like 3D printing, that recreating physical experience via digital devices. I think we are still at the very beginning of these reproducing physical experience via digital devices, because we have this very kind of different senses. And yes, we will have different techniques, as Laura, I think this is a wonderful example with the polyester film, that we are already do it in a way that we are sending out some samples and we are then communicate about it and get in workshops where you have the physical part but also the digital part together. It will be reduced in a way maybe, and we will see a lot of new solutions in the next in the next time, I think, and I hope. And Jonathan has an answer also, a statement?
An answer, yeah. A solution already. No, just kidding. I think it's all about references, sort of. It's like we compare experience. And when I was thinking about the introduction of the talk, when I read it first, I was like, okay, do I actually have to say something about what we're talking? It's like, and then of course I thought about a lot of things, and that there's a lot of experience already happening, and I think product sampling or like tactile sampling is a part of it. But I was wondering if we might need like a reference box what is independently of everything, where we can say, okay, that's the different kind of experience we have, like how soft is something, how rough, how what I think it will be a lot. So the biggest task to put it down. But then it really reminds me when Laura talked about the movie, that maybe with some simple tools we can create such experience. But it's, yeah, I think it's already I think there are already some people experiencing so much more materials because they're already built much more references. So it's to every person also to, I don't know, I think you have to go in the forest and touch the tree to understand how bark feels. And so the real world will always be so important to build up this system of references to, even if we create boxes what imitate bark by 3D printing, in the end, it's just a reproduction of the real thing. And yeah, so get out there and fill the system with all those references. That's what I would recommend.
Yeah, I think, yeah, we have this, we will now, I think we close the discussion because there's no more question. And I think we will have different options to, yeah, to maybe with this kind of references, with samples, to communicate, to transport the idea of materials and objects. And I think also with these references, we have, yeah, more to communicate about the senses maybe, and we do it already, yeah. And this is also the task for the companies and the designers, get more and more detailed in communication, yeah, and really use all the tools, the digital tools we have via video workshops to communicate, and via these references could be very interesting. But this is obvious we can't replace, and this is my opinion. I don't want to close with my opinion, so we have still the sentences, the final sentence of you, that we will see also a revival of yeah, a big wish to be connected with the material world, because we are so strong in this digital world. So I have also a sentence prepared, but maybe before, for the closing, you has also prepared a sentence for letting us out. And this is a sentence, or this is a question about what are your hopes, all the people here, all the designers at the panel, what is your hope getting out of the crisis precisely for the design world? So please give us your little sentence at the end of this panel. Lara, Luchtman.
I think people will long even more for tactile and physical experiences, and the design world is very good at creative problem solving. So I think we will find a way to combine the both.
Okay, beautiful. So Daria, what do you say?
Yes, I think that we should take advantage of the possibility of sharing global knowledge, let's say, in this digital world, to share, let's say, to learn from each other, and also to obtain new insights. If we can do it digitally right now, let's do it digitally, because then there will be another time when we can do it physically.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you. Jonathan.
Yeah, I think that we had this big discussion in Germany about the relevant professions during the pandemic. And I hope that the designer who's reducing waste by using recycled or reused materials will be as relevant as the person who's collecting the waste.
Okay, thank you. So Laura Jungmann, your final opinion.
Yes, I hope that in this crisis, even now, I'm starting now, we recognize that the designers problem solver, and I hope that we can be the ones that design all these transformations we were talking about, because like this new normal should not just happen like this by chance, but it should be like designed by someone. So that sounds like a good future for us.
Okay, thank you. So what is your idea of getting out of the crisis concerning the design world, Adam?
Well, I'm just going to use something that I've used before. So at Smile Plastics, we have a motto. The motto is reimagine materials designed to inspire, which obviously is what we do in our day-to-day business. But in actual fact, it's something that we can all use. So reimagine materials designed to inspire for us all is reimagine what's possible and use our choice as designers, or our choice, which is a design in its own right, to have a positive impact.
Okay. This is a very holistic statement. So yeah, thank you all. I think we already enjoyed the advantage of the new novel now. For me, it's the first time at Dutch Design Week, actually. So it's interesting to do it in a virtual, digital way. So I have also prepared a sentence, and I want to leave you now with this sentence. It's a sentence from Anni Albers. And it was the inspiring sentences for the title of this talk, and it's Anni Albers from the Bauhaus. She was a former artist there and the wife of Josef Albers. And she said, because she was a textile specialist, we touch things to assure ourselves of reality. So we touch things or objects of our love. We touch things we form. Our tactile experience are elemental. If we reduce their range, we grow lopsided. And this is important for me. So if we are going into digital worlds, that is extremely interesting and helpful. We don't have to lose the material and analog world, and we won't, I think. So yeah, it was nice to talk with you and to get all these different perspectives. And there's so much of discussion and transformation in it, and but also a lot of hope and and innovative approaches. And if you're interested in this kind of what they do, all the designers there, go to the website of Dutch Design Week. They're all presented there with their projects, and you can download also Media Kit, and you can get in touch with them. And yeah, so happy to have you here and this panel, and I wish you all a good week and a good Dutch Design Week still. And yeah, thank you, and maybe we will see us in the next digital session in another session. So thank you and bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye,
Thank you for
guys.
hosting that, Martina. Bye.
Thank you, Martina,
Bye.
for hosting.